listening to Mondays with Mike Martinez.
Hey guys, welcome back to another exciting episode of Mondays with Mike. I got my new buddy Edgar here. He is from Michi's El Gordo. You guys know how us Mexicans love micheladas? Well, there's a trend in the last few years. I'll let Edgar talk about the trend a little bit, but it's putting candy, putting chamoy, putting flavor in your micheladas. What's up, bro? Introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name is Edgar Razo. I'm pretty much the CEO of Micheladas El Gordo. We've been doing candy for the past, say 3 years now. 3 years, okay. And we pretty much take like actual candy and just make it a flavor candy, like a Mexican traditional, chamoy type of tajin type of candy.
So I know that the whole brand started out from making chamoy flavors for micheladas. And now they can just have the candies without the micheladas, right? Can you explain a little bit about the product?
Yeah, so initially I started with making drinks, the actual micheladas. So with that, I saw there was no growth in that because, you have to deal with alcohol, beer, and all that good stuff. So I tried to focus on something that will give me open more doors. So we started with tamarindo, like the dips.
Yep.
So we started with that, and from there kind of went to the candy, and the candy is the one that kind of stayed there, because you open a bag of candy, you finish it in chingazo,
Yeah.
And with other stuff like tamarindo or dips, if it's training, like you say, hot, you're gonna finish it, but once you have a container of a lot of product, it's like you put it away and it's there. And with this, it's like I gotta go to the store and get another bag. So yeah.
Should we call this the Mexican Sour Patch, you could say?
Yeah, I mean,
how would you describe it?
A way of life, like a snack, especially if you're out on the road.
Yep.
Most of our candies are market liquor stores, so I get a lot of people that travel. So you're on the road, you need something spicy to kind of keep driving, get in the mood, and we focus all for everybody. The kids, adults. You name it. So
you got really spicy ones. You have ones that don't have any spice. How many flavors did you say you have?
So we're about 22 flavors, but they all have the same recipe in the end, but it's just the actual candy. So if you have like watermelon slices, it tastes like watermelon slice, tastes like watermelon, and un poquito the chile or the spice.
Got it.
So the flavors are going to be the actual candy, and then the signature is going to be my recipe, like the final product.
Got it.
On it.
Got it. So look, guys, he is blowing up right now. His brand is really being desired by all companies. We're gonna talk about that in detail in a minute. But this brand, his flavor, this candy is absolutely just bonkers right now. It's blowing up. He's big on social media, so we're gonna give you his handle a little later in the show. But we're gonna get started by talking about his background. So Edgar, where were you born? Where are you from? Where were you raised? How was your upbringing?
So the most common, like in our Mexican culture, I was born and raised with a single mother. So I had the experience of just, coming from a household that was not, I don't want to say normal, because what is normal, right? But like just somewhat dysfunctional. So I grew up in Riverside. I grew up in the 90s, pretty much the drug era, Riverside. So I grew up in that kind of environment, drugs, violence, and...
Were you involved? Were you involved in any of that?
Yeah,
I know it's a tough question.
I was actually an addict. That's how my business actually started. Because I was an addict. Obviously, what you see, you become part of. In my eyes, it was normal to be in the streets or whatever the case was growing up.
What did you use? Was it alcohol or drugs?
So when I first started, I started off with meth. It was something right off the back. It wasn't like, marijuana or nothing like that. It was just not even alcohol. It was just straight meth. And obviously, for reasons, it was because I didn't have no mentor, no control.
Nothing else.
Was always working, and we were always out and about pretty much to ourselves.
How old were you when you started using that?
I was 12, 11 and a half or so.
Fuck.
I was in middle school. I still remember, second lunch, just trying to fit in, like being cool with the kids. A lot of times that I saw myself doing was faking it, you know, like, yeah, I do drugs, I do this, I do that. And that's where I actually ended up using drugs.
Did you smoke weed too?
So I used to smoke weed, but I never used to inhale it. So I didn't know what high was, you know what I mean? So like, I used to eat the smoke, that's what we call it. And like, no me ponía moto. So like, I thought it was going to be like that with the meth. And as soon as that, you know, I started smoking that kind of destroyed me. Like, it was an instant high in your bloodstream. And it was like, you know, all my answers were pretty much, you know, answered. Because, you know, self-esteem issues, you know, lack of love, understanding, and all that kind of deals, I found it in the drugs and the streets and stuff.
What about alcohol?
Alcohol came later on, you know, and it came late.
How long were you using meth?
20s. Meth, I keep saying we. I like to say we because I always put my wife and my team like we. So I abused straight nonstop for about 3 years. So like about till like 16 or something.
Okay. I used to use meth, so I know. I started using meth around 15, and I finally let it go right around 21 years old. So I abused it for like 6 years. I got really bad when I started smoking it. I used to sniff it from 15 to 18, but then around 17, 18 years old, I started smoking it. So I was stuck for like 3 years. So I know where you're coming from, bro. I know where you're coming from. It's a disgusting drug. I don't wish it on anybody. Matter of fact, I pray for everybody that's on it to get off of it, because it's just, it's a horrible drug. So your upbringing, you know, did you graduate school?
Yes. So when I was 16, about 14, 15, I can't really remember. It's so much, you know, going on in my brain right now. But I was sent to rehab in Mexico. So I ended up going to Mexico for a year, and I did treatment over there on those rehabs,
yeah,
Nexos or whatever.
Where they force you to go.
Yeah, so pretty much I got kidnapped, you know, like in the middle of the night.
That's good. I'm glad they did that to you.
I was handcuffed, and I was, you know, on my way to treatment.
Good. And then you ended up coming back to the States. You graduated high school.
Yeah, I ended up coming back to the States with just, you know, to see what life was there, because all I knew was drugs. You know, I was a kid. You know, I didn't really focus on like communication skills, writing, or nothing, because I did drugs so early. So I came back to high school. I finished high school, and then I focused on treatment to becoming a substance abuse counselor. Okay. So that's where all my schooling went to. You know, like helping others come out of drugs.
Did you ever work as a counselor?
Yeah. So I did counseling for 8 years.
You look like a counselor, bro.
Yeah, I did counseling for 8 years for federal clients, so, you know, that come out on halfway houses. Yeah. So I did all their drug treatment and stuff like that.
Good. That's a very fulfilling job, isn't it?
It is, but then it also could be dangerous, because you have to really take care of yourself as far as
the people that you're treating.
Yeah, because, you know, emotions, and you start taking it personal, you know, and I feel like that's part of the mistake I did, to a point where, like, I wasn't really taking care of myself, you know, like counselors need counselors, or psychs need psych.
Oh, wow.
So a lot of times people don't know that. And in my case, I end up, you know, just burning out. Yeah. And that's where the alcohol started.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I could definitely understand that. I like how you said, like, counselors need counselors, coaches need coaches. Yeah. That's just the way it is. So, dude, how did you get into this? Like, that's what everybody's gonna want to know. Okay, you were a counselor, and then you end up launching. You were doing micheladas originally, right? Yeah. So how did you land that? How did you get into the michelada gig?
So I've always been like in the hustle move. You know, I've always worked. Even when I was a counselor, I used to work from 4 in the morning to 9, 10 at night. You know, I used to have multiple shifts. I used to do like drug testing, counseling, and, you know, cover for others. So I've always had the mentality. So when I was working there, I ended up getting hurt, and I got pretty much laid off. So from there, I had to figure something out. Yeah. So that's when I started with the actual micheladas, and started experimenting with drinks. And I went from like pretty much slacks to shorts and, you know, tennis shoes. Vámonos. I was going to barbershops and salons and stuff like that, and I was just pretty much, you know, offer them my services, you know.
To do actual micheladas?
Yeah,
or
so
is
it's
it the
pretty
mix?
much a bar on wheels.
Okay. Oh, shit. Okay.
So I'll pull up, hey, 3 minimum, come through, fix it, vámonos to the next one.
That's a hustle.
And I did that for 2 years. For 2 years, I did it. No Christmas, no Thanksgiving, no birthdays.
You did good, though? You made money?
Enough to kind of get by.
Okay.
Enough to kind of get by. And
when did the candies come into play?
the candies came into place. I feel like it's always been there, but like with social media, the trend and, you know, people blowing it up, kind of like, you know, makes
So
it
even
popular.
when you were doing the michelada mix, you were already selling the candies?
I was known for like the sweet michelada guy because I used to put candy in my micheladas,
Okay.
like gummy worms and stuff like
That's where it started.
that. I've always did that, and then I met somebody that did this recipe or did this kind of like
style.
candy style, and I noticed that, you know, he just lived off that. So I kind of like, you know, started.
It clicked.
Click on the, like, you know, I want to do my own brand. I was already known as Micheladas El Gordo, so I was already like selling tamarindo dips. I was already selling that brand particular, the chamoy that we were talking about. But then it started getting slow because, you know, COVID hit. You know, everybody's locked up. You know, people get tired of the same shit. You know, so that's when the candy came because I had to come up with something else.
Okay.
Because like,
So right around COVID, you started focusing more on designing the flavors for the candies and the different options.
yeah, you know, just changing the ways because the early COVID was all dips, tamarindo dips. Towards the end of COVID, it was more the candy because now people could come out. So now people are going to the stores. So now I'm promoting the stores. But initially it was the dip, the tamarindo dip.
So what was difficult about starting these businesses or starting your entrepreneurship, you know, in general? What did you find challenging about it? Or the most, because we all know everything's challenging, but what was the most challenging for you?
I think managing the money because as fast as you sell, as fast as you get the money. And if you're not smart with that, I feel like that's the biggest mistake people do in the early business, where they see a lot of cash coming in or a lot of, you know, money, and they're buying fucking Louis Vuitton, they're buying, you know, this and that, and the priority is not in the business.
I love your response, bro. That's one of the best responses that I've ever had on my show. I swear to you, bro. That's one of the best responses that I've ever had on my show. That's really good.
You know,
so managing the money, managing the finance. Don't waste your fucking money on Louis Vuitton, guys.
Yeah.
Just because you see him with the Louis glasses or you see me with the Ferragamo shoes, it took time to get there. I did not. When I started making money, dude, even when I started making really good money, I would still wear the same tennis shoes for like 6 months, 2 pairs of tennis shoes, maybe 3, same 5 pairs of jeans in my closet. Like, I didn't start really spending money till I started really seeing a lot of money. I'm like, you know, fuck it. I'm going to go buy this. I'm going to go buy that. But dude, it takes time to get to that level.
Yeah. You know
right?
what? In my case, it was the way around. It was the opposite. Like, so when I was growing the business, I started, you know, dealing with a lot of celebrities, like a lot of like singers, you know, and they all wear Gucci, they all wear like, you know, stuff. So in order for you to fit in, you know, I feel like
you had to.
I had to, and a lot of people didn't understand that, and I saw like people were like, man, this was fucking wearing this or this and that, and I remember telling my wife, I think my first like gold chain, like. So this gold chain right here came from a hollow 10% like carat.
Yeah. The hollow gold.
Yeah, and I thought it was fucking fly. And she used to clown on me because of what happened when you saw the eyes on everybody's like, I fucking put mine away because I was embarrassed, you know. And it was just a process to be where I'm at now. You know, like every 3 months or so I went to the guy and I upgraded the gold. So
you don't care though, right?
No, I don't care.
No, not no more.
No,
not anymore. And I'm the same way now. Now I'm the same. Now I have so many designer shoes now in my closet that I have to wear them. I have to wear them because it's happened to me where I have designer shoes that I don't wear for like 2 years. Maybe I wear them once and I'm like, fuck, these are so out of style already. Like I like, what do I do with them?
Like the red bottoms
or whatever, dude. I
have a lot of
that's why I wear them. Like, I don't wear Ferragamo shoes to the office just like to floss. I wear them because they're just sitting there.
Yeah.
Like, then when the fuck am I gonna wear them? You always wait for a special occasion. I'm like, I might as well start burning them.
No, in my case, I'm worried because my son's growing. So he's like, oh, I can't wait till I use your Travis Scott's, or I can't wait till you, like, fuck, man. I told my wife, don't let him wear my shit, because, like, he'd be wearing my stuff to school. So I try to wear my stuff now, you know, and just be proud of it.
Well, yeah, we want to use what we work hard for, but it doesn't mean just go blow the money. Now, bro, I really don't want to even spend money on stupid shit like that anymore. Now it's like, it's rare. If I have to really, really like something, expensive designer stuff, I have to really, really, really like it in order to buy it. I would rather invest in business. I would rather put it back into my business, start another business, invest in somebody else's business or whatever. That's where the money's better spent. So finance, I love that. Did you find anything easy about starting your business?
Shit, no, nothing's easy. You know, like, it's just kind of like the finance, what you say, you know, so the money that I was getting, I was putting into the brand. So I was buying 200-300 shirts and giving them away, and spending a lot of money on merch, you know, stickers, labels, and that was ultimately my goal, like, to put the brand out there, you know, like.
And it worked?
It worked, yeah.
How much were you spending on shirts?
Oh, man, I think my last bill was sweaters for this winter. I said, well, my guy.
You still do it?
Yeah.
You still spend a lot of money?
I think it was $6,000 on sweaters. I don't even have one. Like, you know, and I just give them out. Give them out, because I feel like somebody will wear something, you know, like, if it's nice, and obviously if it's free. So, like, you know, I try to spend money on nice sweaters and, you know, have people pretty much. You
know that I just started doing that. I just spent $3,000. I ordered a bunch of hats, my brand with the 10X logo on it.
Yeah.
And I was thinking like they're going to be more like for me and just exclusive people in my circle. And then I wore this hat yesterday to the office for the first time. And my son, he works here. He's 21 years old now. Kenneth, he's like, "Where'd you get that hat?" And I'm like, it's custom made for me. This is the same company, the same guys that make all Grant Cardone's merchandise. Okay. And my son's like, damn, that's sick. Can I get one? And I'm like, yeah, I already ordered some. They're on their way. Yeah. And then like another cousin that we have that works here, he popped up and he's like, let me get one of those, you know? And I'm like, I got you guys. They're on their way. Yeah. So that's great that you brought that up, because I'm going to start doing that. I'm going to start just giving out my brand. And it's money, bro. I'm on a $3,000 a month plan with this company. Yeah. Where they're going to be sending me, like, I'm wearing it right now. This is
like a membership?
It's a $3,000 a month. Yeah. So it has the 10X on it. So shout out to my guy. It has my initial somewhere on it. I think it's on my sleeve. Wow. Yeah, so it's custom merchandise. But my wife is the one that actually mentioned it to me a while back. She's like, you're always promoting like 10X. You're always wearing 10X stuff. Like, wear your own brand. You can have 10X on it, but like, you need to start showing your brand more. You know, and I've had a lot of people that compliment me on my logo. They're like, dude, that's the Rolls Royce logo. I go, bro, I'm a fucking Rolls Royce. I'm like a Rolls Royce human, you know? Excellence. So my wife told me, she goes, you should start wearing your own gear. That's why when this guy pitched me, he's like, dude, I'll send you a gift box so you can see the stuff. This was all free. He gave it to me. Oh, nice. It was all free. But he got me. Now I'm on $3,000 a month, so he could keep it coming.
I'm blessed to be able to. I started kind of backwards. Like, everything is hard to like promote and get to be known. Like, I feel like in businesses in the beginning, and mine was like, hurry up, you have to take advantage of the media, of the Instagram, you name it. So when we started doing the drinks, I wouldn't go out if I didn't have stickers on them. You know, I always tell my wife, like, you know, I don't have stickers, I'm not gonna go out, because I wanted to people know that
that's your brand.
It's my brand.
That's your brand. Look, every great entrepreneur is the same. There's urgency, and we're perfectionists to a certain level, right? So how did you blow up the brand? How did you get known so fast? You know, how big are you right now? Like, where can they find you in stores and things like that?
So Instagram was one. Influencers at the time, you know, going back to COVID, you know, a lot of people are on their phones. Nobody's going out, so I'm sending packages to random people, like, you know, hey, can I send you a package? So that's pretty much how I started, like, you know, getting to be known. And from there, it just kind of like
blew up.
You know, like, people were tagging me in stories, and hey, where can I buy this? And that's when the stores start reaching out to me, and I start focusing on the manufacturing because they want to sell at the
like
stores.
liquor stores or what kind of stores?
Yeah, like stores, liquor stores, markets. They start hitting me. Hey, can you bring me some? I want to sell some of your product. And the beginning was all online. So when I saw the opportunity, I kind of like took advantage of that.
Do you still sell online?
Yeah, but it's not as where it's supposed to be because a lot of my clients are now going to the store and buying it.
Right. Yeah.
So
people,
it goes down.
What people are impatient, bro. Like, I want to go to the store right now and buy it. I don't want to wait, And that's probably why you have so much success selling in the stores.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit offline about big brands that have approached you, like Coca-Cola, big supermarket brands. Can you talk a little bit about why you don't do business with them?
So one of the main things that people make mistakes, I feel like in my lane, or what's it called, like in the type of business I have, they think by going to Fruitful Less or
Stater Brothers,
they think they've made it. Like, that's a stupid mentality. Like a lot of times people, I can't wait till I'll be there, because I was there. I used to think that way, but when I really start seeing the business behind it, it's like, you don't get paid till like 90 days. Imagine, giving up something up and not getting paid for 90 days, and you have your employees, you have pretty much all the overhead that you have to take care of, and you don't see no money. And you you pretty much lose money, you get it back when obviously you sell your business or whatever. But that money siempre va a estar, stuck. By the time you get your second order, they're barely paying you the first one. So fuck that, like, I can't afford that.
Yeah, so it's been kind of a business decision that you have been forced to make, right?
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, like, it sounds good, like the Budweiser and all that. I remember we've had meetings.
What did Budweiser want to do?
So with Budweiser was the distribution. So, they go to all the stores. So every big company that goes to small liquor stores. So if a liquor store has big companies, they have small companies. So a lot of them sell my product. So, el gordo. So that kind of like lead to a manager and so on, and kind of reaching out to me, like, but I just kind of didn't took it that way. I just kind of like, I wasn't interested.
I have a question for you that I did not ask you offline.
Okay.
Have you thought about selling your company?
No.
You don't think you ever would? Somebody comes to you right now and they're like, I'll give you $100 million for your brand and your recipes and everything. You wouldn't do it?
No.
Not for $100 million?
No.
What about $1 billion?
I think about my family. Like, like, I want to leave the business to, like, because I feel like if somebody that buys it,
you don't rather leave them $1 billion?
Well, yeah, that's, I mean, obviously, right, like $1 billion, but as going
$100 million, bro, because I really think that in the next 5 to 10 years, you could build the company up to be able to sell it for $100 million. I really do. I really do. So when that day comes, and it will come, you're not going to be open to selling for $100, $200 million?
You know what? I really didn't, because I seen a couple of million already, with the brand, and I don't really focus on the future, if that makes sense. Like, I know it could be there, the possibilities, but I like to just kind of like go with well, now that it's all about networking. Now I met you, and I see the different opportunities, doors open, and it's like there's more to it, than what you really think there is. So, yeah, that's probably something.
I had never thought about selling my company ever.
Yeah.
Until I started getting around Grant Cardone and Brandon, especially Brandon Dawson. He's really Brandon Dawson is my most impactful mentor that I've ever had. I love Grant Cardone. He's, like my uncle, but Brandon's like my daddy, okay. So Brandon taught me every business that you build, Mike, you have to build it with the mindset that you're going to sell it. Every business, whether you decide not to sell it at the end, that's fine. But what else are you going to do?
Yeah.
Like, there's no guarantee that your kids want your business, bro. Yeah. There's no guarantee that they want that fucking headache. What they are going to want is the money, though. So I'm going to sell all my businesses before it comes to that, so that they could have access to the money and not the headaches that I've went through.
Right.
So it's all different perspective. We all look at it.
Yeah, because when I started, it was just to survive. Like, to feed my family. It wasn't something where, like, oh, I have $100. I started with $200 from my mom. She loaned me $200. We went to downtown LA and bought cups and stuff. That's initially how I started, just to make ends meet. So there's more like love to it than money, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you're emotionally attached to the product.
Yeah, and I feel like, you know, like you've let the money chase you. Like
I'm like that with my teams.
Yeah.
I'm not attached to any product because we're a service company.
Right.
I'm attached to my teams. Like I've thought about, man, when I sell my businesses, like what's going to happen to my team? Well, whoever buys it better fucking take care of them.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or I'm taking my team with me.
Yeah.
You know, so what, if you had a magic wish, what would be granted to you this year to grow your business, or where would you see your brand this year?
I like to focus more like on out of states, you know, being in 50 states, major distribution, focus on
national
wholesale,
distribution.
National. That's ultimately my goal, because I do get, like, believe it or not, I get messages from England and from other countries, you know, and you be like, what the hell? Like, are they like joking with me or what? But they see it, or somehow they ran into the videos and, like, you know, they want to try the candy. So Australia, I know Australia was a big one too. So,
bro, you're talking like $100 million company already.
Yeah.
You know, so where can people find you? Where can they find your product? How can people follow you if they want to connect with you?
So each bag has a QR that has all my information, the website. We do have a store here in San Bernardino, where it's our actual headquarters, where you pretty much could find every single item of mine. But mostly all liquor stores around, you know, Inland Empire, you know, San Diego, like we're kind of almost in every single store.
That's awesome, bro. How about your social media?
What about it?
Where can they follow?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Michis El Gordo.
Michis El Gordo.
Yeah.
Michis El Gordo. So I have it right here, just because everybody's going to want to follow you. Everybody watching is going to want to try these candies. This is an OMG watermelon chamoy gummy burst. That looks fire. This looks fire,
that,
bro.
I don't know if we have time. I want to share something with you. Initially, when we started this OMG, I got a letter from General Mills, because when I first started, I started just like, I copied pretty much the Gushers, and I put "Oh my Gushers," like "Oh my God."
Oh wow!
So I never knew I was gonna be big, or I sometimes still don't think. You know?
Infringed on them.
So it got to a point where Google, when you search Gushers, I was coming out next to Gushers. So it actually was good for me. It was a good advertisement, because they reached out to me and saying like, hey, you better stop using our stuff, you know, or else we're going to take you to court. And that's how I ended up just with OMG candy. You can't use no Gushers, no nothing.
Did you get an attorney to help you with all that?
No, it was just like a cease and desist letter. Like they told me, like, if you stop, then we'll leave it like that.
Okay.
So that was one of the major, that's when I realized I need to be fully legit, because everybody's watching.
Yes. What's your most popular one? What's your most popular candy? The watermelon?
Yeah.
With a watermelon flavor?
This one's new flavor, but we have a line of 3 flavors. So
which one's your most popular flavor for this one?
So OMG is Gushers, and it has 3 flavors: the watermelon, original, and blueberry.
Which one is this one right here? This is chamoy.
The original one.
Okay, and then you have mango. Okay, mango's very popular. Dude, this is fucking beautiful. I want to try these right here. This is fire right here.
I knew you were gonna like those. That's why I brought those.
Yeah, bro. So Michis, MICHIS _ El Gordo. You guys make sure that you follow him. Thanks for coming all the way out, bro. I know it was a little bit of a drive. Yeah. I appreciate your time. Guys, if you loved this podcast and this session with my guy, make sure that you're commenting, that you're already subscribed, and that you're liking, and make sure that you message him that you've seen the show, and make sure that you support him, and most importantly, make sure that you try it. All right, we'll see you guys next time on Mondays with Mike.